Russia's president says his country's military will be victorious in Ukraine. Vladimir Putin spoke at the annual Victory Day parade marking the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II. He repeated his take on the conflict in Ukraine.
Сегодня цивилизация вновь находится на решающем переломном рубеже. Против нашей Родины вновь развязана настоящая война. Но мы дали отпор международному терроризму, защитим и жителей Донбасса, обеспечим свою безопасность.
And Stuart Smith with more from Moscow. Stuart, this is the second Victory Day parade since the start of Russia's war in Ukraine. Our celebrations have been scaled back. Why is that so?
Yeah, for two reasons. The first is that there is, as you said, an ongoing military fight in Ukraine, and that most of the soldiers are there fighting and not in cities available to participate in Victory Day parades. So, for example, today it was mostly cadets, retired military personnel, and others not involved in the direct fight. It was symbolised by the fact that there was only one tank on the parade ground, one T-34, a historic tank familiar to all Russians as the one used against Nazi Germany in World War II. The rest of the tanks, of course, fighting in Ukraine, and so that also meant that it was a much shorter procession than any that has come before. The other reason events were scaled back were security threats, unspecified by the Kremlin, but there was definitely a fear of some kind of attack, whether by pro-Ukrainian Russians within the country or Ukraine itself, as the Kremlin alleges happened last week when a Ukrainian drone hit the Kremlin behind me. And so those security concerns meant most of the cities across Russia that were due to host Victory Day parades cancelled them. Here in Moscow, the parade of course took place, but the civilian parade, which usually runs through the city with tens of thousands taking part, was also cancelled. So all of that to try to make sure as little risk was possible for the soldiers taking part on Red Square, for the president, but also 7 leaders from nations that used to be part of the Soviet Union, their leaders here as well.
Well, Stuart, we heard a quick excerpt there from President Putin saying civilization is at a turning point and framing the war in Ukraine as Russia fighting for its protecting and ensuring its own security. What else did he have to say in his message?
Yeah, absolutely right. So for the Russian president, this is now something he's describing as a war that has been imposed on Russia, a war instigated, he says, by the West. Russia, he claims, is simply defending itself. And he made it clear that in his mind the stakes are incredibly high. He said to the soldiers taking part in the parade down below that they are fighting for the security of the country, that they are fighting for the future of Russian statehood and the people. He made it very clear, therefore, that this is going to go on until Russia succeeds, and also that there is no stopping or any timeline to this, that Russia believes, according to the president, it's fighting for its very existence.
Thanks. That's Stuart Smith reporting live just there from Moscow.